After making over 7 figures wholesaling real estate, I decided to try out fixing and flipping houses. I thought, hey, I'm already finding these deals, why not keep them for myself to make even more money? Well, let me tell you how that went. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down my first year trying to flip houses, and I'm gonna give a complete breakdown of my first fix and flip, where I was expecting to make $60,000 but made way less. This is my complete and honest experience trying to fix and flip houses from the perspective of an experienced wholesaler and my opinion on the business model as a whole. Now, why I decided to try fixing and flip houses in the first place. Coming from a wholesale background, I am constantly seeing these deals in my pipeline on a day-to-day basis, and I'm seeing what these fix and flippers are making on these deals. I'm selling these houses to investors, and I'm seeing how they're making upwards of about 100 grand in a 3-month time span from buying it and flipping the property. So from my perspective, I already figured out the hard part that these real estate investors have not figured out yet. And that is having a constant pipeline of the #1 most transacted asset in the world, and that is real estate. I really thought that this was a natural progression. This first fix and flip over in Buffalo Grove, Illinois seemed like the perfect opportunity. It was in a great neighborhood. It only needed a medium renovation done to it. The numbers on paper looked amazing, and we were projecting only a 3-month timeline. And not only that, we were expecting to make 50 to 60 grand on this flip. Let me break down the initial process for you. So my marketing team was able to generate this lead, and then with that lead, my acquisition team was able to lock it up under contract at a pretty decent price. And instead of wholesaling this property, we began the process of actually buying it ourselves. We were able to get connected with a very solid private money lender, and they approved us for the lending. Went through the title work, and everything seemed smooth at first. We closed on the property for $193,500, and we had a renovation budget of about 50 grand. Now this is kind of where reality hit after we closed. The contractor nightmare begins. I'm not kidding when I say this, it was so freaking challenging to find a trustworthy contractor. After we closed on the property, I would be at that house for about 5 days out of that first week, just trying to meet with contractors that can give me a solid plan. We had some contractors coming through telling us that it was gonna be a $90,000 rehab, and we had some contractors coming through saying that it was only gonna cost them $15,000 to $20,000. So I did not know who to freaking trust. Fortunately, with our wholesale background and having thousands of connections with cash buyers that are out there, we were able to get connected with one of our best cash buyers who was able to help us with this renovation. And yes, it met our renovation budget. But just because we found the right guy doesn't mean that it was smooth sailing from here. It's as if nothing was getting done right the first time, and it was just constant phone calls. And now this is where the project timeline just starts to stretch and stretch and stretch. I guess you could say we really underestimated the amount of time that we needed to put into the project ourselves. And that includes, again, taking all these tedious phone calls, having to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, pick out certain material, figuring out all the math behind it to make sure that we really are sticking to budget. It was hectic, to say the least. And as we're over here trying to take on these bigger tasks, we start to forget about the small details. The cleanup, the HOA, the appliances, this, that, a million little things that all adds up to a big freaking problem. And this is gonna be the home that somebody's gonna be living in for a very long time, so the little details matter so much. To give you an example of a simple mistake that we made, our contractor, the investor that we've sold plenty of wholesale deals, said, hey, you need to go get a shower door. So I'm like, okay, awesome. What's the size of the door? Boom, bada bing, bought the door, sent it to the house. Well, it turns out that the door that I ordered to the house was a swivel door, and it needed to be a sliding door because it wouldn't swivel out because it would hit the freaking toilet. I know, a very boneheaded mistake, but that just goes to show about all the details that you need to be on top of, and you can't miss one thing. So there goes 5 months of a lot of frustration, and we finally finished the renovation. So now we made it to the sale process. We finally list the property, and we're able to get a buyer under contract for $300,000. Oh, and you might think it's really smooth sailing from there, and you just close out and you get the money. Well, not necessarily. We thought we were in the clear, but then we have buyer issues, needing to give buyer credits for $15,000, as well as closing and realtor fees that come up to about 8%. And for those that are slow at math, that's $24,000. And man, let me tell you, these first-time home buyers that are buying these properties, they are so freaking nitpicky, but I don't blame them. It's their first home. They want it to be perfect. And we closed everything out finally. All that headache is gone, and we made a whopping $20,000. 6 months, $20,000, that comes out to what, $3,000 each month that we made? I know some of you guys are thinking that's pretty freaking good if you ask me. You bought a house, you fixed it up, you flipped it, you were making on average like $3,000 each month. But no, it really was not worth that much work and time. Let me explain. All right, a little bit of context. This is what it looked like, when we bought it for 190,000 before we dumped 50 grand into it. So we finished up everything about 4 weeks ago. We listed it on the market with an agent about 3 weeks ago, and we've been contingent for the last couple of weeks, 28 grand over asking price, which is phenomenal for my first ever fix and flip. Now let's break down the numbers. I'm gonna start with the bigger ticket items and kind of work it down to the little stuff. Starting with the kitchen cabinets were about $3,750. The countertops were about $3,200, and the appliances altogether were about 3 grand. All right, so that puts us at around like $9,950, just about 10 grand with just the kitchen. Now onto the master bathroom. The tile work itself was about 3 grand all throughout. The vanities were about 1,000. The toilet was 200, and then all of the fixtures were about 500 bucks. So that's kitchen, that's master bathroom. That puts us a little bit over 19 grand, I believe like 19,350. Now onto the guest bathroom. Again, the most expensive thing was the tile work throughout the floor, tile. That was about 2 grand in just tile work. This vanity was about 300 bucks. The toilet, again, 200 bucks. And then all the little fixtures in here were about 300 bucks as well. All right, all in so far, little under 25 grand. Now onto the floors and the carpet. These floors, LVP, they're about $4 a square foot. We spent about 4 grand on these. And then the carpets to do this bedroom and that bedroom was about $1,000. And then the trim and then the quarter round equaled out to about $2,250. All right, so we're going up on budget. We're at nearly about 33 grand. I don't know off the top of my head. But now onto the doors, we had to replace 10 new doors, and that equated to about 1,500 bucks. Alrighty, and then to paint this entire place all new, that was about 5 grand. All in so far, we're at about like $38,700. Onto the furnace now, which was an unexpected expense that we recently had to, well, as you can tell, it's not finished yet. We're getting it finished this moment. That was about $2,500. All right, so now we're at about $41,200, if I'm not mistaken. Onto the staging now, because the staging, in my opinion, is actually what sold this place. That was all about $1,500. And no, we don't keep it all. It's a staging company. They take it all out. This isn't even a real bed. Now, all the little miscellaneous stuff equaled out to about $7,800. Now that's, the outlets, the light fixtures, stuff for the fireplace, door handles, all the little stuff, about $7,800. That puts us at about $50,500 for the all-in cost to fix this place up. All in all, we paid $190,000 for this place. We put just a little bit over 50 grand into it. We listed it for $275, hoping that we get something over asking, and we're contingent right now at 303, which I'm very, very hyped about. As you can clearly see, fixing and flipping houses is not a beginner business model that some people advise it to be. If you don't have tens of thousands of dollars of disposable income, these unexpected costs can wipe you out completely. With that being said, here are some of the advantages of starting off with wholesaling first. Number one, you're not required to have a lot of capital. With this fix and flip, we needed an initial investment of $243,500. With wholesale real estate, you can get started with $500 to as low as $0. Number two, time freedom. Fixing and flipping requires constant attention. Dealing with contractors, property management, ordering material, and the endless amount of emails and phone calls. Fixing and flipping houses, you're really not working on your own time. You have to work on the time of these contractors, of the people that are helping you, realtors, lenders, you name it. You're working on other people's time also that you gotta be mindful of. Wholesale real estate allows you to make a shit ton of cash while still being a one-man team. Thirdly, the timeline of things. Not only with fixing and flipping does it have to take upwards to about 3 to 6 months, that timeline can get stretched if you make one simple mistake. With wholesale real estate, we're getting deals closed in the matter of 30 to 45 days, and most beginners are getting their first deal closed in less than 90 days. And last but not least, the risk. You're risking these contractors to come into your property and potentially fuck something up that can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Not only that, the market can shift in a blink of an eye, and now all your profits go to shit. And now you have the potential risk of having to bring money to closing just to get the property off of your hands, or you have to hold on to the property for the market to balance back out, and now you're holding on to all of these new holding costs. Taxes, interest on loans, you name it. There's cost to just holding on to the property. And again, with wholesale real estate, the main thing you're risking is your time, and at max $500 for the necessary softwares. Now look, I'm not saying fixing and flipping properties is a bad business model. I know people that are making millions of dollars doing this on a month-to-month basis. But after trying both wholesaling and fixing and flipping, I can confidently say wholesaling is a better starting point for most people. If you'd like to learn how to start wholesaling real estate the right way and learn from the mistakes that costed me thousands of dollars when I first started out, I posted a free 2-hour-long video on my YouTube channel that includes real coaching calls from inside my inner circle. This is going to be your best starting place. So go ahead, click the link that's somewhere around here, go watch it. But lastly, thanks for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.